This news update is brought to you by
Grab somebody and tell them hello. Your happiness will be connect to flow. Smile and cheer because that is we flow. Grab somebody and tell them hello. With your hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air. This is how we flow, yeah. Grab somebody and tell them this is how we flow. Your happiness will be connect to flow.
This is the Barbados Today evening news update for Thursday, September 17. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary Claire Williams. The president of the Congress of Trade Unions and Staff Associations is slamming government's decision to make adjustments to the operations of the school meals department without first consulting the workers. And that's not all. Cedric Murrell is now calling on administrators, specifically in the private sector, to engage and to work with the persons who they manage. Murrell delivered the president's address at CTUSAB's midterm delegates conference this morning, and he blasted the state-run organization for its role in the impasse, which saw employees going on a work-to-rule over new working hours this week.
I've taken a little time to check, and I've been told that there was absolutely no consultation with the workers themselves on that change of their hours. I really cannot believe in 2015 that something as simple as that cannot be done properly by a department of government. And that is what I speak about. Because if they had checked, if they had had a meeting, if they had consulted, then certainly the fact that NUPW had to be involved in the way that they had, and that the public became aware that there was an issue, there might not have been an issue. And that is what I speak about: simple consultation, dialogue, and information sharing. It is necessary, it is vital, it is almost compulsory in today's world.
Striking central bank workers were back on the job today. The employees returned to work 4 days after downing tools. They were protesting the appointment of an intern to a salary higher than that of appointed staff. But the management's decision was contained in a letter handed to the General Secretary of the Barbados Workers' Union, Tony Moore, as she met with workers this morning. Moore pointed out that the protest was not an attack against the intern, but she says the union is not satisfied with the bank's handling of the matter.
Am I generally satisfied? No, because I think that the matter ought to have reached this point long before now, as in Friday, when a senior member of my management team, my deputy general secretary, was on the spot seeking to bring resolution at that early time, just 2 hours into the protest, that the matter has taken as long as it has on account of the bank's unwillingness or inability to recognize the issue for what it was and to address it as an urgent matter is one that has caused us much concern as it relates to the outcome that you might be alluding to of the contract being rescinded. That was the only natural outcome that would make sense in this situation anyhow.
Noted local economist Jeremy Stevens says Barbados' B credit rating from international agency Standard & Poor's is not surprising. In its latest report, S&P maintained the B grade it gave the country for a second year, as well as the negative outlook, saying despite projections for 2% growth by next year, the country's fiscal deficit remains high and the debt burden continues to rise. The agency says another downgrade is possible if projections from the tourism sector failed to support the turnaround in growth. Head of the Barbados Economic Society, Stephen, agrees with the assessment. He says Bridgetown retained the rating because of the performance of the tourism sector.
What has left me to kind of agree with S&P is the whole the severity of the fiscal consolidation strategy being done by government. And though the budget did, in the proverbial sense, give with one hand, it took away with a lot. Many allowances that would have allowed for great investment have disappeared, so therefore the incentive to invest as much as before is no longer there. But all of this was meant to help reduce government's liabilities and their cash flow, negative cash flow burden, that is paying out huge amounts of sums in tax returns to individuals and businesses. Well, individuals, sorry, really. So with that in mind, we expect, or at least I expect, that the economy will slow, or it wouldn't grow. Even if it does, it will be a marginal growth. And in line, not even in line, along with the fact that many tourism projects haven't necessarily gotten off the ground, or the breadth of tourism projects that we expected to be off the ground this year has not happened, one could only assume that the outlook would be a bit shaky going forward. But at least we still got low oil prices, and one can hope that this tourism season coming up would be better.
Social Care Minister Stephen Blackett will address matters concerning the issues facing the Child Care Board tomorrow. The Child Protection Agency has come in for some severe criticism and scrutiny following the death of 3 children and allegations of abuse of several others. The minister will speak to the media at his office at Warren's Complex at 2 o'clock. In sports, Chargers came from 2 sets down to defeat 2015 knockout kings Barbados Bearings Progressive 3-2 when action continued last night in the Goddard Enterprises Limited Division 1 Volleyball League at the Wilde Gymnasium. Knockout Queens Flow Century Deacons also suffered their first defeat of the league when they went down 3-0 against Pan American Life Insurance Warrens. They won 25-19, 28-26 and 25-20. 2 other games also played last night, and also in winning circles were Deacons men, who brushed aside Foundation United 28-26, 25-19 and 25-12 for an easy win, while Bryden's Rockets women suffered yet another defeat, this time to Junior Girls 25-21, 25-21, 25-22 and 28-26. The action will continue at the Wilde Gymnasium on Sunday.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter, that's the move for me. Stability, prosperity, we're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
On the regional scene, Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro has allegedly stopped the accreditation process of Guyana's new ambassador to Caracas. We get more in this report from Capital News.
The Venezuelan president, who is under severe pressure at home as the economic situation in that country continues to deteriorate, has reportedly asked his foreign minister, Delcy Rodriguez, to put on hold all arrangements to consider Guyana's appointee to replace Jeff de Silva as ambassador. This newscast understands that the decision by Maduro comes after comments reportedly made by Guyana's Foreign Minister Carl Greenidge in Miami at a conference discussing Caribbean issues. Guyana has reportedly been engaging Venezuelan authorities for some time now on a successor to de Silva, the former head of Go Invest, who was appointed ambassador some years ago. President Maduro issued a decree outlining coordinates that includes Guyana's maritime space. That decree, 1787, came after American oil giant ExxonMobil announced a significant fine of the Starbuck block, to which it has a prospecting license for oil. The decree by Venezuela also raised concerns in bordering countries Brazil and Suriname.
Further afield, officials in Chile have declared a state of emergency in a central region following an 8.3 magnitude earthquake. At least 10 people are reported dead and 1 million others had to leave their homes after the quake hit last night. The quake, the strongest in the world so far this year, lasted for more than 3 minutes, and there were dozens of aftershocks. One coastal area also experienced tsunami waves as high as 15 feet, with smaller ones hitting shores as far as Alaska. That's the news and sports this evening. Be sure to join us for another update tomorrow morning. Until then, you can log on to www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. You can catch us on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. We're also on Channel 101 on Flow TV and Mix 96.9 FM. I am Maricla Williams. Good evening.